up, y'all? It's your girl Amanda, and we are back with another episode of Thompson and Stuff. So, I was thinking about something. You know how, like, some podcasts have, like, bi weekly, not bi weekly, like, twice a week podcasts, and some has, like, once a week, some has, like, once a month. I think I'm gonna go the twice a month route. That way, more episodes can come out, and you know, I can get you guys more content. So this is the second March episode. So the next episode will be like the first full week of April. You know, just so I could take some responsibility of getting some content to you guys. So thank y'all again for supporting me and listening to the podcast. Um, I also want to thank everybody who's been listening to the podcast on the streaming sites. So I don't know if y'all know this, but I get like the statistics sent to my phone, right? So every day I've been watching the Thompson and Stuff numbers just grow. So I know people have been listening from all over the world on different platforms. What the heck? Platforms and stuff. So thank y'all again for listening. Um, any life updates for me? Not really. It's just the fact that gas is still high. So the last time I talked to y'all, gas was $3.99, and it was stuck on $3.99 for like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, right? I get my gas from Quick Trip. So tell me why, y'all. Thursday or Wednesday, I'm driving home and I see 4.24, but that's for unleaded 87. I get 88, so it's cheaper. So I pay 4.19. So it's been stuck at that. Gas is still high, y'all. Gas is still high. But then I noticed I was driving to get some food today, and I noticed that it kind of dropped. Unleaded 87 dropped to 4.19. So if it dropped to 4.19, then 88 is like 5 cents cheaper. So it's 4.14. So that's just a little glimmer of hope. I don't know why, and people are still saying everywhere they are, gas is still high. But hey, that's a little glimmer of hope. 5 cents does make a difference these days, trust me. I also want to say, it's not a real good time to have a gas guzzler diesel truck right now because diesel is like 5.30 a gallon now, and I know like diesel trucks take like 20 to 50 gallons of gas, so that's not good. But yeah, gas is still high. Also, if y'all are unhappy about these gas prices, I should say, I hope y'all vote in the primaries. So I live in Illinois. We just had our primaries a couple weeks ago. Um, I voted. Of course, I voted. I had to vote. I really, really, really want Alexis Janulius to win. So if you don't know who Alexis Janulius is our Secretary of State. And Alexis Janulius, he kind of started the process, or, well, he kind of created the process of people not having to go to the DMV and like renew their registration and stuff, which I love because I hate going to the DMV. Last time I went to the DMV was during COVID. And y'all know during COVID, they kind of had to do like, extra stuff just to keep everybody safe. So, now that he's in office, he's been like creating everything for people to have an opportunity to renew your registration, your license, all that stuff online, which is, I think, amazing. I love it. So yeah, I voted in the primaries. I love voting where I grew up. I'm going to be very honest with you. I love voting where I grew up because, um, I live in an area where we keep to ourselves, basically. And you see, like, your people in your neighborhood, and some people can be very friendly. People are hilarious, and some people just want to get in and out. Shout out to everybody who volunteered at the voting place today, or today. I didn't vote today. I voted like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. So shout out to everybody who volunteered. Very nice people, very kind, very helpful. Um, I hear that they're gonna like kind of mess with like mail ballots. I just hope everybody, if you feel uncomfortable about voting with the mail-in ballots, just go vote in the voting place. So voting started at 6 a.m., right? I did not go until 6 p.m. Like, I literally rushed to where I was, from where I was to get to the voting place. And you know what? thought I wasn't gonna vote for in the primaries because oh, it's just the primaries. But no, no, I just kept reading stuff, and it just like the more I read, like the more I just felt like the urge to go. So I went at the last minute. So I felt a lot better after I voted. Just to get people we need in the office. You know what I'm saying? So I felt a lot better after I cast my vote. But the big show, as I call it, the midterms big show is in November. So I would definitely be in the building voting in the midterms because this is ridiculous. And also, people we're seeing it in the media all day long. People are going against Trump. People are, they're the voting numbers are big, even though, some people lost in the primaries, but we I think we're getting the train moving, if you will. We're getting the train moving. So that's my experience of voting in the primaries. And also there is the No Kings protest. That was today. I decided not to do that because that would be just too much for me. But hey, if you went out there and you did the No Kings protest, that's perfectly fine. You did your part. I hope you were safe out there. But protesting in masses of that, it's just not for me. But the real protest is in them voting polls in November. Just saying. Just saying. So let's get into these stories. That's just a life update for me. Ain't much going on over here. Just those three. But let's get into these stories. Let's just start from the top of the list. So the Beauty in Black season 2 finale was released, and I did watch it. It took me it started at what 7, 8 o'clock, and I didn't finish it till maybe 2:30 in the morning. So basically, it's finishing up from last season. It was left off where Charles was, cutting up them bodies, and then everything just started to unravel more and more and more and more. I don't really want to. Well, I'm technically gonna spoil it. So if y'all did not watch the season, fast forward. And my take on this is simple. In the end, Kimmy and Horace got together, right? And basically, this family is just going back and forth for some sort of empire, if you will. And at the end, Horace and Kimmy brought in all those FBI and ATF agents, if you will. And what do I think about this whole thing? I don't think the Bellarys are going to do good in jail. They're too rich, they're too bougie, they're too relying on the money from this hair company. They're not going to go far. Somebody's probably going to die in season 3. Somebody's probably going to go to jail for life. Somebody's going to get conned. And yeah, I think season 3 is going to be way more crazier than season 2. I did not do a review episode, my other podcast, because I honestly I kind of forgot about the first half. I didn't forget about it, I just forgot what happened first half. But for season 3, I am definitely doing a Thompson Mandy's Entertainment Reviews because it's a fresh new season. I also read somewhere that it's gonna be 6 episodes, and it was from this verified X account, Twitter, whatever you want to call themselves. But I was sitting here thinking, how the heck is it gonna have 6 episodes? Is it gonna be split up 3 episodes here, 3 episodes here, or is it just that's the full season that's gonna be streamed? Will our questions be answered? Will what we think will happen? You know, I hope that's just from because that really does not make sense, and that really does not sound like Tyler Perry to have just 6 episodes of something. Because I have never seen a Tyler Perry, a Tyler Perry project where he did 6 small episodes and that's it. So, but yeah, them Bellarys ain't gonna last long in jail. They're just not. Look how they live. Look how they work. Just no, they're not gonna last, in my opinion. So moving on from that, it's just a simple thought. Rest in peace to Tommy Brown. So if you guys don't know the name Tommy Brown is I think he was older than Bobby. He's the older brother to Bobby Brown from New Edition. I was kind of shocked to find out about Tommy Brown because Tommy Brown was very much in Bobby's corner. He was portrayed by Mekhi Phifer in the New Edition movie and the Bobby Brown story. And I just remember Tommy always being in the cut with Bobby. Even when he was on being Bobby Brown back in like the early 2000s, which if anybody wants to know why there's no like episodes on TV of being Bobby Brown, is because Bravo said something about it never being seen in the daylight again. I don't know. But then I heard another rumor that Whitney Houston actually owned it, but I don't know. But I would see Tommy on there with Bobby and they would, do funny stuff. I remember the episode where, so in Atlanta, I think Whitney and Bobby's house was like way in the north suburbs of Atlanta, and they had to stay in the city because that house was getting remodeled or something. And Tommy drove Bobby Christina out there for something, for a gift or something, and then he was like, then why did we drive all the way out here? And then Bobby Christina was like, to get ice cream. And he was like, oh. It was really funny. But yeah, I never lost a sibling, so I couldn't imagine, what Bobby is going through. But he's been through like so much loss. He lost his parents, his ex-wife, his daughter, his son. Yeah, so it's rest in peace to Tommy. I always saw like, I saw a lot of tributes to him, and he was very well known by people outside of Bobby. So rest in peace to him. I pray for the Brown family. I hope they do get comfort in this time of grief. Moving on. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is rumored to be canceled. You know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him because when Love and Hip Hop first came on, right? It was like 2012. I was 17. 2011, 2012, 16, 17. I was in high school. And I remember that was like something to talk about TV. Like when I was in sixth grade, we had for the not for the love of Ray J, Flavor of Love, right? We watch Flavor of Love. We go home. We go to school and we talk about it, right? So that was the same way with Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but we also had Twitter and stuff. So we would like tweet about it. Our friends would see it, and then we come home or come on to school, and then we talk about it. Memories, the nostalgia, right? But the years went by, so I'm in my early 30s. This is my mid to late teens we talking about. As the time went on with the show, the people started leaving. Jocelyn left. She left because she had a baby, and then she, I guess, wanted to do something else. Mimi left. Carly Red's still in there. Rashida's still in there. But they also had people come and go. Who else? Who came and went? Jock's, some of Jock's girlfriends, up until he married Kendra. Kendra's still on there. Who else? Scrap De Leon and all of them. It just started to become like an not an elevator, but a revolving door of characters. And if I were to watch like a episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta now in 2020, from 2025 probably, I wouldn't know who nobody is outside of Rashida and Kirk and Spice and maybe Lil Scrappy. But he divorced Bambi. I don't know who he's with now. You know what I mean? So it is time to hang it up, because slowly but surely um, all the other cities are fading off. For example, it started with Love and Hip Hop New York, right? Love and Hip Hop New York ended. So they took Yandy. Yandy moved to Atlanta with Mendices, right? Now let's talk about Yandy and Mendices. They split up. So they're not in quote unquote love and hip hop anymore. So they split up. Erica Mena and Safari. They're another one that came and went. So started with New York, and then it went to Atlanta, which is still on air. We don't know how much longer. Then we had Hollywood, which lasted like maybe what, 4 or 5 seasons, but nobody was really feeling Hollywood anymore, so that got canceled. Then Love and Hip Hop Miami, which I hear is in its final season. So yeah, it's time to hang up the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta because it's repetitive, it's petty. Nobody wants to see fighting on TV anymore. I think we've moved past that as a society, in my opinion. So yeah, rest in peace to Love and Hip Hop as well. It's safe to say that's our childhood, right? So yeah. The Tyrese versus Tank versus, which was actually yesterday. When it was first announced, I thought it was a good idea just at the bad time. So we're in late March, right? Tyrese and Tank. When you hear those names, you put them with automatically R&B and slow dancing and romance and all that stuff. Now, when you hear those words, slow dancing, romance, love, all that stuff, what do you think about? You think about Valentine's Day. This would have been a perfect Valentine's Day versus that somebody could have taken them to see a show. Um, because actually, the versus, how they set it up was in LA. They set it up on a stage. They had a live band and they sang live, they dressed up. Something that Teddy Riley was probably trying to do, but because things were so limited, Teddy Riley just messed it up. So I think it's safe to say Tank and Tyrese pulled it off. But they did. They did a really great job. They didn't really perform. Well, I wouldn't say Tank performed. Maybe I Deserve, and I don't know if he performed Please Don't Go. Those two are really my favorite songs by Tank. But he also created the new song called Turtleneck. Now, it's not an official single or anything, but darn it, everybody's been singing it on TikTok for the past couple days. That turtleneck, you gon' was it suffocate in this verses with that turtleneck? Hilarious. But Tank's always been like hilarious, right? And Tyrese has been hilarious too. But he didn't perform all his hits. I think he didn't perform lately. I heard he didn't perform lately. And then he didn't perform another one. Signs of Making Love, that's it. I think he did perform How You Gonna Act Like That. I think he did perform You're Just a Baby Boy, You're Not the Real McCoy. I'm in your streets. I think he performed that. But honestly, I love Tank. I think Tank won because he's got this new catchy song that everybody's been singing or is going to sing until probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that's my opinion. But people are saying like, okay, what's the next verse should be? Should it be Donnell Jones versus Avant or Donnell Jones versus Joe? You know what? Donnell Jones should be a name mention. But I don't know who it would be against because I don't think Joe wouldn't work. And Avant wouldn't work either, in my opinion. Maybe somebody more, because a lot of young kids watch, verses. They probably don't know all the songs. So I can't name somebody that would like really cater to the young kids and the older people and my age and all that stuff. So if y'all got like any suggestions outside of Joe and Avant for Donnell Jones, please put them in the comments. I love R&B. I'm open to anything. So, but I really did enjoy that versus. I don't know when we gonna get the next one, y'all. It's probably gonna be around summertime. I remember when Bobby Brown and Keith Sweat did their verses. It was around like 4th of July or something. So probably get another one by then. So yeah. Moving on from that, Southwest Airlines. I love Southwest Airlines, y'all. But I don't love them as much as I used to because, back in the day, you could like get on the plane and go to pick a seat like as soon as you get on the plane. But now when you buy your ticket, you got to pay for a seat. In a way that's a little bit more organized, sure, but I don't know. It's just They had that policy for like over 30 years, and then boom, we changing our policy. You gotta buy a seat, pick your seat when you buy it, whatever. But Southwest Airlines will no longer be at O'Hare Airport. I do fly with Southwest, so I guess when I travel, I don't have no business at O'Hare. Let me tell y'all something. When y'all see the memes on social media that say people in Chicago, the real thing to tell someone I love them is to take them to O'Hare Airport. 75%, I think that the person who made that meme is from the south side or the south suburbs. Um, so from the south suburbs, south side to O'Hare Airport, if you take the expressway, it's about 35 to 40 minutes to get there. The thing I hate about O'Hare Airport, so they got these like rug, I don't want to say ruffles, but they had like these, what are these things called? They're white lines and they sound rough when you roll over them. And I be driving real slow over them when I go to O'Hare because I had to take my mama one time to the airport, O'Hare, and I'm rolling over them things and I was so worried about my tires. Also, O'Hare Airport is one of the busiest airports in Chicago, right? So the same trip I took my mother, dropped her off at the airport with, she came home, right? I didn't want to go deal with the airport because that time it was 3 days before Christmas and people were flying in from wherever they were or if they were coming home, whatever. It was hella crowded. I looked at my phone to check the traffic or whatever, right? All red because on Google Maps or something it tells you like the live coverage of traffic. So if it's red, that means it's hella traffic. I said absolutely not. So I told my mother, I said, listen, I'm gonna send you an Uber because this was when Uber first started that feature. Like if you send someone an Uber, it's for that said person, and they have to be in your phone contact. So thankfully, everybody in my phone is first and last name. Mother, father, brother, sister, whoever you are, your first and last name in my phone. Now, I sent her the Uber in her name, right? I have to take a sip of water. Hold on. I sent her an Uber in her name. So I had the Uber pick her up from O'Hare and bring her to Woodfield Mall. And at the time, I was working at Cadillac. So I had to make this whole arrangement before I left the dealership to fly up north because the Cadillac dealership I worked at the time was way south, a little bit further from where I live. So I had to bust my butt to get up north. And the plan is crazy. Like the way I'm describing it, it might sound chaotic, but honestly, the plan really, really pulled off. The Uber driver found her. She got in the car. The Uber driver brought her, and it was only like maybe 6 or 7 miles from the airport to the mall. Uber driver dropped her off where I wanted him to drop her off. She got in the car with me. We went back home. Flawless, right? But yeah, a lot of people I know too who need rides to the airport. They fly Southwest. So it's all about Midway over here. Midway is on the south side. It's about 25 minutes away. If you take the expressway, it's like multiple ways I know how to get there. Every time when I was growing up, I know I was close to the airport, Midway Airport, because I would see like that long street of hotels. And then sometimes you see like the white walls that blocks off what's it called, the runways. Like we don't see the runways from the street, but we do see the planes fly down. So yeah, so I guess I have no business at O'Hare now. Whatever. So moving on from that, Janet versus Jermaine. So there was a rumor. There was a rumor that, the Jackson family had a private viewing of the new Michael movie, which, by the way, comes out, I think, in like 2 or 3 weeks. It comes out in mid-April. And I know what you're asking. Are you going to go see that movie, Amanda? Yes, I am. Where are you going to see the movie, Amanda? At the AMC Theater. Are you going to dress up for the movie? Yes, I am. I found some Michael Jackson costumes online. I found one for like maybe $35. I'll probably order it in next week or something. If the people did not order all the outfits, because I want to be dressed up too. See, my y'all know I love me some Michael Jackson, so I want to be dressed up to represent, right? So there was this rumor that Michael Jackson's family had a private viewing of the Michael movie, and they said that Janet didn't like the movie. She didn't like how Michael was portrayed, but Jermaine was like, "That boy good. That boy good." I mean, of course he has to do that. That's his son. Jermaine Jackson is Jermaine Jackson's son, but Janet was like, "I don't like it." And then here's where I definitely knew there was some BS. Jermaine told Janet that she was jealous and her career is in the toilet. I'm sorry, what? Janet Jackson's career was in the toilet? You know, I understand, like, Janet Jackson, she had that situation with the Super Bowl, and then things kind of got a little weird for her after that. But from the outside looking in, like, I never thought that, her career was, in a turmoil era or in the toilet or whatever. Shoot, I remember Janet Jackson, the excitement of people seeing Janet Jackson on TV, seeing Janet Jackson in concert, seeing a Janet Jackson music video, people talking about her music video after it came out. Like, I see that every time, Janet Jackson has something going on. Even today, and Janet's like, she's gonna turn 60 in 2 months, right? I still like see the excitement of a Janet Jackson concert. I kid you not, y'all. Janet Jackson caused traffic in a suburb out here in Chicago. Like, people missed the Janet Jackson tour because nobody could find parking because it was crowded. Like, what does that tell you? And probably, if it's true that Jermaine said that to Janet, he's probably projecting because Jermaine has not had the best career like for Jackson. Now, Jafar's mother, Alejandra, she wrote a book, right? And it came out in like 97, 96 or something. It came out way in the 90s. I had a copy of it. I found it on Amazon. And she talked about how, she was with Jermaine and it was all good in the beginning. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. It was all good in the beginning, but then things started to unravel. His money started to get bad. His records started to not sell. He started beating on her and all that stuff. So, like, if anything, Jermaine is projecting the toilet in the career onto Janet because, oh, that's my son. He worked really hard. How can you say that? But y'all, it's all allegedly. I mean, Janet has a right to her opinion. That was her brother. She can say that. But that extra stuff of saying Janet Jackson career in the toilet, I don't believe that one bit. And we don't even know where the heck Jermaine has been all these years. I heard he moved to Dubai or something. But last time he lived in the States or whatever, he was married to that other lady. So I don't know, y'all. Jermaine just was like out here projecting on people. Maybe he's jealous because all his siblings is doing well. Even Latoya, like Latoya, she be out and about. I know she's probably dealing with like some sort of health issue or something, but even with that, she was like, out doing a dance show honoring Michael, and she looked great during that. So don't y'all just hate jealous siblings? Y'all hate jealous siblings. It's weird. But yeah, moving off that, I can't wait to see the Michael movie. Actually, I might talk about it on here. I don't want to give the whole movie away. I just hate that it's broken up into two parts. Now, we don't know when part two is released. This is part one we're going to see in theaters. And they released like the soundtrack list. It's all from the stuff up into the bad era. So, which is not my favorite era. My favorite era is 90s, 2000s, up to 2009 Michael. So I gotta wait for my favorite part of the era to come out. But moving on from that, Ricky Smiley is being sued by Brian McKnight for defamation. Now, this is obvious. What did Ricky Smiley talk about for Brian McKnight to sue him? The same things we all been saying. Brian McKnight's a horrible father, his deadbeat father, him versus kids, yada yada yada. Yet Brian McKnight chooses to sue Ricky Smiley because he's a prominent figure. Well, hell, if Brian McKnight feels that way, he could sue all of us. All of us small time YouTubers, podcasters, because we all feel the same way. Just you're a public figure. You're supposed to have like really thick skin, and it's not defamation. It's the truth. It's obvious. It's out there. It's very obvious. The children come out and talk about it. Julie McKnight, who's his first wife, she comes out and talk about it. Like, it's not defamation. It's the truth, which is so dumb. And he should really throw that. He should throw that lawsuit out and leave Ricky Smiley alone. He's just doing his job. He's on the radio. Idiot. That's why I can't stand Brian McKnight. Like, I basically deleted all my Brian McKnight music off my Apple Music. I grew up listening to Brian McKnight. My mother had all his albums until he started getting weird in the late 2000s. I guess that's where she threw the line, or drew the line, threw the line. But yeah, he a weirdo now. I can't. I just can't. Tiffany Henyard. So if you guys don't know who Tiffany Henyard is, she was the former mayor of Dalton, Illinois, which is a southland of Chicago, little town, the ghetto. But yeah, she was the mayor. She was a scammer. Basically, she stole money from the city. She just didn't run it properly, right? So elections rolled around. She got voted out. So they have a whole new mayor. And I don't know if things are a little better for them. Um, I can't say, but I think the guy has got a great head on his shoulders. I see him on TV from time to time. But Tiffany Henyard, she just want to be seen. I couldn't stand her. She was loud. She was loud and wrong, basically. And she moved out of Illinois. She moved to Atlanta, and now she's running as a Republican in Atlanta, not for like mayor, Congress, or anything. It's for a how commissioner or something. She's not gonna win because yes, the town she was the mayor in was a small town, but she was on like national news a lot. So people are like very aware of what she's did, well, who she is, and what she's done. I remember when she was in office, she held township meetings for the town people. They were fighting in there, like her boyfriend versus a resident of the city. They were fighting, like fist fighting in the town hall meeting. Like I've never seen nothing like that. Granted, yes, I grew up in a predominantly black area, right? I've never seen anything like that until she got in office. So I don't think Georgia's gonna have that. Georgia, okay, Illinois is a red state, right? Georgia is a red state. It's a little bit more conservative over there. They're not gonna go for that stuff she did here. So I don't think she'll go far. I'm glad she's out of the state though. She's out of everybody's hair, but she's not gonna go far because of the antics she did back in the day here. So I'll move on from that. Y'all remember Jace, little Jace from Teen Mom? Well, he got caught up in some trouble. He actually pulled the gun on his grandmother, Barbara. So yeah, he's Janelle's son, by the way. The reason why I wrote down this story is because sometimes I be up late at night, right? And I be scrolling through TikTok, and y'all know some of them like spammy accounts be reposting clips from like TV shows, like reality shows, or sometimes they have like those bad acting Tubi movies and all that stuff. And side note, speaking of Tubi movies, I did watch that Deb Atney movie. Deb Atney is Waka Flocka Flame's mom, and she's a music manager for like Gucci Mane, Nicki Minaj, all them. And she had a movie. I don't know what channel it originally comes on, but somebody kind of posted the whole thing on YouTube, and I randomly found it when I was looking at my phone this morning. Watched it. It's really good. It's got Lisa Ray McCoy, Clifton Powell. It had Afion Crockett in it. Thumbs up. Great movie. Check it out if you can find it. But back to Jace. I would be scrolling through TikTok and I would be seeing just clips of Jace being a baby and his grandmother Barbara and his mom Janelle just screaming at each other, and Janelle running off with some man doing drugs and all this stuff. And now I see this, and I just felt so bad for the kid because he just grew up in such like dysfunction. Like his mother and his grandmother didn't get along. He didn't live with his mother per se. He lived with his grandmother. Her mother had like men coming around like a revolving door, and just I felt so bad for him. And I guess he just one day finally snapped and he pulled the gun out, and he I guess tried to threaten you unalive himself and all that stuff. I just felt so bad for that kid, and he's got to be like 16 years old now. So I felt really, really bad for him, and I just really hope that God has His hands on him because the stuff I saw, like it seemed funny as a teenager watching this stuff. Well, Janelle, I saw you hanging out with Kiefer. We thought that was funny when I was a teenager, but watch it through like 30-year-old, 31-year-old eyes of a parent or a aunt or uncle or whoever. You just think that whole thing is just freaking sad, bro. That's just so sad. So I just hope God keeps His hand on him. I'm thinking about him because I remember when he was born. He's a little kid, and them teen mom people, they not that much older than me. They're probably like 1 or 2 years older than me. So I'm thinking about him. Um, Rihanna. I know y'all was probably wondering, where are you gonna talk about Rihanna? So if you guys have been living under a rock when it comes to Rihanna, Rihanna's house in Beverly Hills or the Hollywood Hills or somewhere over there got shot up. And this is why things like this is the reason why I hate, not hate, maybe despise Los Angeles a little bit more. When I was a kid going there, like, it was so glamorous and fun, and I rarely saw celebrities. People said they see celebrities, I rarely saw celebrities. But they had like the Hollywood tours and all that stuff, and people were respectful of the houses. They didn't like jump off the bus and try to knock on the door or whatever. But years later, and I know there's some stories about stalkers and stuff, but they come and go. But like this is, and I also think like as somebody as famous as Rihanna, how is her house like that accessible? That she should be living in like a gated community like the Kardashians. But I'm not victim shaming, not victim shaming at all, because if you see a house, you love the house, it is what it is, right? But her home was shot up by this lady named Ivana Lisette Ortiz, right? She shot the house up, and what was sad was like everybody was home. The children were home. Rihanna's mom was home. A$AP Rocky was home. It was just sad, and I think the weapon was like an AR-15 or something. Just devastating. And why would you do that with children in the house? Like what's wrong with you? So she's out on a $10 million bond, and if you ask me, that bond is not high enough. $10 million, no, it needs to be $1 billion because children are in the house, our mother is in the house, her agent was home, like all the people was in there. Like she put a lot of people in danger. But Rihanna said she was in a trailer when that went down, and she woke up Rocky and all that stuff. It should be $1 billion. I don't care. Because you don't just shoot at somebody's home with their family and their children in there. What's wrong with you? So there's also, I know what's wrong with her. She kind of crazy. There was videos of her in delusion talking about celebrities and stuff. Rihanna, I think she was talking about Nicki Minaj or something. She's not right in the head. And she had the nerve to plead not guilty in court a couple of days ago. No, I think she's gonna get, I think she's gonna get life. And it's not like I wish she gets, no, I think she's gonna get life because, with crimes involving children, this country don't play that. This country don't play that. You automatically going to prison. What's wrong with you, child? Yeah, she's probably gonna get life. I don't want to hear none about no 10 years sentence, 10 to 15. No, no, no. I honestly don't want her to see outside freedom ever again because you shoot at someone's house with children and family members and all that stuff. What is wrong with you? And also, I hope Rihanna moves to like a gated community. And that's my thought on it. Moving on from that. Moving on from that. Um, Hold on, I gotta move some stuff around. Beyonce nephew was caught with Tommy. Tommy from Love and Hip Hop. I should have mentioned her amongst one of the cast members to come and go. Beyonce nephew was caught with Tommy, and I don't think it's anything serious. It doesn't look serious, but it's weird. Now, oh, is it because they're 20 years apart? Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not that. It's Tommy's image. Tommy is crazy, okay? We be seeing Tommy fight on TV, on Love and Hip Hop. Not only is she on Love and Hip Hop, but she's also on the Zeus Network. And we all know about Lemmy and the Zeus Network, don't we? So, yeah. I know Beyonce is probably somewhere looking at her nephew sideways. Like, boy, what's wrong with you? And, it's not the age thing. Maybe Beyonce watches Love and Hip Hop and Zeus Network and got the app on Apple TV somewhere. She probably know about Tommy. She's like, boy, what is wrong with you? And they were all around town. They was making out. Somebody filmed him. She was standing outside his truck. He was in the truck. They was making out. And then there was somebody filming them. They were in a club somewhere in a corner making out. I'm like, oh my God. I know his family is just like heated. Again, not because of the age gap, but because of who she is as a person on TV. And also, y'all gotta know, Tommy's been arrested a lot. Like, she has a grid, like a 3x4 grid of mugshots I saw when she first got on Love and Hip Hop. So, I don't see this lasting long. I don't think it's serious. Maybe they just, it's like one of the things, like a guy or a girl you date and you like them in the moment. You date them for probably 6 months to a year. Y'all making out everywhere y'all go. And then it just abruptly ends. And you wouldn't be surprised that it abruptly ends. So, but yeah. Tommy, though, Tommy from Love and Hip Hop, come on. He's rich. He got money. He's Beyonce's nephew. He can get somebody better than that, honestly. But moving on from that, Young Miami from the City Girls, she sat down with Charlamagne the God. They did like some sort of one-on-one interview. I didn't watch the visuals. I listened to the podcast recording on Apple Music. And what I got from this interview is that she basically defended Diddy, but also said that she lost money because she was defending Diddy. Long pause there, right? I I was just so lost when I was listening to that. Um, I don't know, y'all. I just don't see, like, there's proof that this man put hands on women and y'all broke up for some reason. So, uh, yeah. It, I mean, I, just why though? Like, I'm lost for words, y'all. And then Usher said Diddy was misrepresented. This why I be mad at Usher every like 6 to 10 years. I was mad at Usher for a long time because of the Moving Mountains album, but this made me mad. No, Usher, he's not misrepresented. He is caught. The abuse video came out. And then he started to apologize. He apologized because he got caught. He's caught. He's not misrepresented. We are finally seeing who Diddy is. And then that Diddy documentary on Netflix that 50 Cent produced, that exposed him even more. He is not sorry that he did what he did. He is sorry because he got caught. Capiche? Capiche. And then, just yesterday, King Combs' house got burglarized. I think it's not an inside job, in my opinion. It's not. Because, he wasn't home when it went down. But people are still talking about Diddy. I swear. I cannot wait for the day that this Diddy circus dies down. And I thought it was when he goes to jail. Maybe now is when he's been sitting in there a year And it's about to hit a year that he's been sitting in prison. I think in October or so. It's coming quickly. He's been in jail. He's been locked up for a couple years, but he's about to approach his first full year in prison. I guess when he's in there, like, because he's got 4 years, maybe when he's in there for like the second year, Diddy Talk will kind of quiet down a little bit more. Maybe let him serve his time and then get out and live quietly. Because he probably burned so many bridges, in my opinion. He probably burned so many bridges, don't nobody want to be around him. And also, I don't know if he still has money or not. And that's none of my business, but, you know. Speaking of the East Coast, West Coast beef, Suge Knight is writing a memoir, and he plans on telling the truth of what happened when Tupac got shot in that car in Vegas. Um, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this because I want to know more about Suge. Yes, I know Suge Knight grew up in Compton. He went to UNLV to play football. And speaking of football, I found this picture on Instagram, right? It was a picture of Suge Knight and some dudes and JFK Jr. playing football in a park. Suge Knight and JFK Jr. playing football together. That is so bizarre. And JFK Jr. said he don't listen to rap music, but you play football with Suge Knight, who founded one of the biggest black record labels in music history. Huh? It was just bizarre seeing them together in the picture anyway. But I'm looking forward to reading Suge Knight's memoir. There's not a lot of books that talk about Suge Knight. I mean, I read a book that his child's mother, her name is, what's her name? Is it Sunny or something? It's a unisex name. I forgot her name, but she wrote a book and she talked about her time dating Suge Knight and having his two sons and stuff. So that's probably the closest thing I read about Suge Knight. But you know, he's been sitting in jail for like almost 10 years, probably 10 years by now. So he's had a lot of time to sit down and kind of write out his full story. I do want to know about Suge Knight in the 2000s. I mean, I know he did it when he got out of prison. He did an interview with Wendy Williams. I want to know some stuff behind that interview. I want to know about what he thought about when he ran over that guy, and you know, if he's allowed to talk about it, I don't know, but he's in prison for it, so I guess he can't. But I'm looking forward to reading that. And also, Arsenio Hall got a book coming out. I might check that out too. Not the physical book show. I get like the Kindle versions because I don't know. These days I just can't hold a physical book. I don't know why, but yeah. Um, Michael Jordan's Highland Park house might be a museum, as it should be, because it looks like a freaking commercial building. It looks like a commercial building, but it was someone's home, and you see pictures of it. It don't feel like a home. It feels like a commercial building. It looks so futuristic and sitting on some acres in Highland Park. It's got a big wrought iron. It should be. And then whoever owns that house, it'll probably pay for itself in a year because everybody wants to see Michael Jordan, the GOAT. And then it also has a basketball court, so they probably can play basketball in there. So that's a good idea. Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI. I saw the picture on TMZ, y'all. Tiger Woods done flipped over a whole Range Rover. How drunk you gotta be? Now, normally Range Rover has their share of problems, right? They always need coolant. Brakes are like $5,000. Don't dent anything. That's like $1,200. Yeah, but how do you turn over a whole Range Rover? And then they released his mugshot, right? And let me tell y'all, God forgive me for saying this out loud, but Tiger got old, y'all. Tiger got old. And I think this is his second DUI. Let me see. Let's see. Many DUIs does Tiger Woods have? Oh, it popped right up too. He's been arrested for DUI twice. So The first one was May of 2017. I remember that one. He was found asleep behind his renting car in Jupiter, Florida. And then the second time, they say this one's drug related, according to ESPN, or somebody said. And yeah, they say according to ESPN. But they also said he refused a pee test. So yeah, that does definitely sound like drugs. Which is weird because I saw Tiger Woods, I think it was on TMZ. He looked fine. He was getting ready to play golf again, and then boom, this happened. Yikes. Eesh. My God. So all we can do is just, like my aunt say, all we can do is just pray for him. But that is insane. Like, it's crazy how just time flies and it determines things. Like, he looked okay. He looked fresh faced and ready to go swing some clubs. But nope, this man done took something and flipped over his whole range. My Lord, let us pray. Um, Last thing I want to talk about, Chili from TLC. Chili from TLC is MAGA because it was revealed that she donated some money to the like MAGA Republican groups. And I don't understand how Chili can be MAGA when all throughout the 90s she made women empowerment music. Now, I don't know about if y'all know this about the Donald Trump administration, but they really don't like women, and they don't like women having rights and all that stuff, and they want us to be, third world citizens as women. So, why would someone who made hits throughout a decade, who, empowered women, told us to express ourselves, but to protect ourselves, um, you know, that type of message, and she goes and she does this, like she donates to those type of groups. I don't understand. It makes me sad because like it's now all these people are coming out saying, "Oh, I messed with Trump." First it was Chili, and then I saw Nick Cannon. You know, I f with no, no, that's not how that works, sir. No, celebrities are becoming very weird to me. Um, And that's why it's like I'm not as obsessed with celebrities like I was when I was a teenager. Because you grow up and you look at them, you learn, man, these people ain't sugar, honey, iced tea. I tell you. But that's the end of my episode. So thank y'all for listening. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm tired and I got really bad heartburn. What did I eat for dinner? I had some fried fish. I had a fish sandwich. It was really, really good. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for supporting. I love you always. Talk to you later. Peace.